President Trump reiterated the timeline for his big, beautiful bill. Yeah, he wants it on his desk and signed on July the 4th, or by July the 4th. In a separate post, Trump said there's a false narrative about spending in this bill. He said it is, quote, single biggest spending cut in history by far. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul joins me now. Mr. Senator, I know you want more spending cuts included in the bill. Can you tell us what specifically you'd want to cut?
Yeah, it's even more than that. The biggest objection I have to the bill is adding $5 trillion to the debt ceiling. I'm actually very supportive of the tax cuts. I don't accept the CBO notion that the tax cuts will lead to deficits. The reason I believe there'll be more deficits is they're raising the debt ceiling $5 trillion. We know that this year, most of the Republicans, not me, voted to continue the Biden spending levels in March. So we're going to go through September of this year, and the deficit for this year is going to be over $2 trillion. If you're borrowing $5 trillion, that makes me think you're going to add over $2 trillion, maybe $2.8 trillion next year. So it doesn't show me that you've turned around. If you look at the spending cuts, it's complicated because it's at $1.5 trillion. It sounds like this enormous number, but it's over 10 years, so it's $150 billion a year. They're also increasing spending for the military and for the border, $300 billion. That's actually more than all the DOGE cuts that we've found so far. So something doesn't really add up here. And I can't be on record as being one who supports increasing the debt by $5 trillion. I think that's irresponsible. The bond markets are already starting to show that they're skittish over this. Yeah. We got interest rates of over 5% on the 10-year bond. There are real problems we face as a country, and we can't just blithely go on the way we have in the past.
Would you offer any kind of compromise? You don't want to raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Would you okay it for an extra $2 trillion or $3 trillion? I mean, would you compromise?
I have offered a compromise, and the compromise I offered was in the form of an amendment recently, and I'd give them 3 months. And everybody says, oh, it's not long enough. Well, the whole purpose is to make them come back in 3 months and say, what have you done for the spending? Show me where you've cut spending. Because in 3 months' time, we'll be rolling up on the deadline, and they'll be presenting more spending again. So in 3 months, and 3 months is a lot of money, Stuart. It's $500 billion for 3 months. I'd do it for 3 months. I wouldn't default. I'd do it for 3 months, and I'd say, show me now what you have done, because the history of this town is people making false promises. In fact, everybody in leadership on the Republican side is saying, oh, wait till after the 26 elections. We just need one more election. You remember when they said that about Obamacare? Elect us and we'll get rid of Obamacare. And they flailed away and never did it. It's the same way with spending cuts. They say wait till 2026 or 2027 and we'll have spending cuts. I'm not waiting, and I'm not voting for $5 trillion in debt to see if they will keep their promises.
How much support do you have in the Senate? Can you muster 3, 4, 5, 6 votes for your position?
I think there are 4 people who are skittish about the spending levels. Some of them are skittish about the $5 trillion. I think I'm the most vocal on all fronts, but there are more starting to come to this realization. I think looking at the 10-year and looking at the bond sales being anemic, people not really wanting to buy the government debt, the ratio of purchase to buy orders, bid to buy orders has gone down. So I do think that there is some alarm growing. I think what the real thing's going to happen, and we won't know this, I think, before the bill comes due, but second quarter growth. If second quarter growth is weak, I think there's going to be a generalized freak out about these tariffs and a generalized freak out about not doing anything about spending or debt.
What would happen if your measure is accepted and you give them 3 months worth of debt raising, and you come to the end of the 3 months and you still don't have an agreement on how much more spending to cut? Do we run out of money? Do we shut the government down again? Does that happen?
No, you end up having another discussion over how long you're going to extend the debt ceiling for. And it's funny, people think I won't vote to raise the debt ceiling. I already introduced an amendment to increase it $500 billion. My penny plan, which balances in 5 years, borrows money for 5 years. So I'm willing to borrow money as long as you're willing to change your habits and show that you're willing to have spending reform, but they have to have it. But in the past, what has happened when they haven't reformed, the Democrats all vote for it and the big government Republicans. In fact, this will be the first time conservative Republicans have actually voted for a debt ceiling, and it will be the largest increase in our debt ceiling in our history. And I think it's a mistake because once conservative Republicans vote for this, there is no conservative opposition. They will own it. The debt will be owned by the Republicans. It's no more pointing fingers at the Democrats and saying, oh, they're the big spenders. it'll be all on Republicans' shoulders. And I'm not going to be one of the Republicans who's going to be responsible for this debt. I'm going to continue to be a voice saying we need to cut spending.
Senator Rand Paul, thanks very much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it very much, sir. Come and see us again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.